Good morning, boys and girls at Pine City School. I'm Ann Hall.
And I'm Stu Hall.
And we're Zachary Hall's grandparents in Evansville, Indiana. If you look on a map and find Evansville, you'll see that we're almost as far south as Kentucky. And today I'm going to read a book to you called The Mitten, and it's adapted and illustrated by Jan Brett. This is a Ukrainian folklore. Let me get to the right page to start. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. Can you see Nicky there playing? At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. She said, if you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally Baba made them. See, she's knitting them right there in that picture. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see that you're safe and sound. But then I will look to see if you have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long before one of his new mittens was dropped in the snow and left behind. Here's Nicky climbing a tree, and there's his mitten that he lost. And there's his Baba feeding the geese. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm, and just the right size, so he decided to stay. See the little mole crawling along into the mitten? He thought he'd found something cozy. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by, and he stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wriggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room enough for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. So there they're sharing the mitten. It got stretched a little bit. And there's the mole. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. See, he's prickly, kind of like a porcupine. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mittens, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole and the rabbit and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. Talons is another word for his claws. They're very sharp. And look at the little hedgehog's prickles sticking out of the mitten. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, and when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. So he had really sharp claws too. They let him in. It's getting crowded in there. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotted by, stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole and the rabbit and the hedgehog and the owl and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. Look how that mitten's getting all stretched out. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten, all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in with the animals, and they were packed in tightly as could be. But what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched, and it was pulled and bulged too many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wiggled into that one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. Can you see all these animals in there? And the bear with the little mouse on his nose? The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! And the force of the sneeze shot the mitten up in the air and scattered the animals in all directions. There's the badger and the mole and the rabbit, the fox and the owl. Where's the mouse? Oh, I think it's right there. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky, where the bear had sneezed it up in the air. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw he still had his new mittens. And there's Baba. Look at that. One stretched out mitten and one regular size mitten. Do you think he'll be able to wear that again? You guys have a fun day, and Zachary, we love you, and we'll see you this summer. Bye.